Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Detachment drummer Ben Wyrick to the podcast. Detachment dropped Black back in November. If you're a fan of melodic hardcore, this is a new band to put on your radar. Ben talks about bucking the family trend and not playing guitar, Detachment's formation, how the band made the most of COVID lockdowns, Black, and more. If you're new to the podcast, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe on your podcast platform of choice and never miss an episode. We've released a lot of shows this year, so go check out the back catalog of episodes and discover your new favorite band. You can find the As the Story Grows newsletter on Substack. Our online community is on Discord, and you can support the show financially and get early access to every episode over on Patreon. Links will be in the show notes. Enjoy getting to know Ben Wyrick from Detachment. There's been this theme of drummers coming on the pod, which is great. I love drummers. I love drums, but it's always tell me about the lyrics on the album. Drummers I don't know, fucking clue.
Yeah, I know a good 35 to 40% of my entire lyrics.
Yeah. It's always great. Awesome, Ben. Well, thanks for hanging out.
No worries.
Yeah. You're up in Long Island?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that where you grew up?
Yes, born and raised.
Nice. What was growing up like?
Typical white suburban neighborhood. I did not. I'm the only kid that I know that did not have video games growing up, so that separates me from most other people. I just had movies and music growing up, but just your typical '90s family, '90s kid growing up. Besides that little nugget of information.
Nice. Were you not allowed to have video games, or were you just not interested?
My father said, and quote, "You kids don't need another reason to sit in front of the TV set." Which I guess is not, he's not totally wrong. But
yeah.
We had my sister and I had Game Boys, so I guess that kind of counted.
Yeah, that counts. We didn't have video games until the PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation 1 and I just played Tony Hawk in my bedroom forever. So.
Yeah, I had a Tony Hawk game for one of my Game Boys that I had.
Nice.
So I guess that counts.
Nice. What got you into music?
Well, I come from a musical family. Both my parents are musicians. My sister's also a musician. They can all play guitar. I cannot. But one Christmas 2004, when I was only 12 years old, it was actually my sister who asked for a drum set, not me. And we got a drum set for Christmas one year. I didn't ask for one. I didn't even have an ambition to be a drummer, actually. But that Christmas we got a drum set under the tree, and I just started teaching myself this and that. And then the following summer, my mom got me drum lessons, and that I just kind of taught myself how to do everything from that point on. And it's kind of snowballed from there.
Nice. Were you just not interested in guitar? Or you just were so young.
I physically my dad tried to teach me a few times. My fingers just cannot stay in the same position. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Couldn't do it then. I can't do it now.
Gotcha. That's fun.
But drums came so naturally, so it wasn't a problem at all.
That's cool. Were you in school band playing drums or anything?
Yeah. I played in the jazz band in middle school, drums, and all throughout high school. I was also in the marching band in high school and tenor drum. So yeah, I did play drums in school when I was a kid. Nice. At what point did you discover punk and hardcore and underground music? I fell in love with heavy metal when I was only 8 years old, and it was, of all movies, because this movie is it's 20 years old and it's not a good movie at all. But the Daredevil soundtrack of all movies with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
There's a song on that soundtrack by Drowning Pool with Rob Zombie on vocals, and it's, to this day, it is a fucking banger. And I was only 8 years old, and I fell in love with it, and I've just been a metalhead ever since.
Wow, Oh, Evanescence is on that soundtrack, right?
Evanescence is on that soundtrack too. Yeah.
That's the only song I remember from. I just remember that movie being so bad and just being like, they fucking ruined Daredevil.
Honestly, there are aspects of it that I think deserve more credit. As a whole, the movie is an utter mess. Like, denying that, but I feel like there are certain aspects of it that do get more credit than they deserve. The soundtrack being one of them. And I'm a defender of that movie, but of course I have nostalgia for it because it literally made me who I am today.
Yeah. What was I know like Long Island's known for having a good music scene, but when you were like in high school, what was the scene like for you?
When we were in high school, none of us had cars or anything like that, so we didn't really go to local shows as much. But there was actually an old venue that's defunct now called the Vibe Lounge that we played a lot when we were in high school. That was freaking awesome. So that was a huge teenage memory of playing on Long Island. But obviously, the number one underlying theme of being a Long Island hardcore band is playing at Amityville Music Hall. Like that's like the center point of all hardcore bands. So like that's the thing I'm most happy about being a Long Island band because we love that venue and so many amazing bands have played there. Suicide Silence has played there. And it's a small venue too. Like you'd think that they play a much bigger venue, but like that it's not too big, but it's just big enough where it could be considered like a hardcore underground venue, but it's also big enough where that can fit a lot of people. It's just so perfect.
That's rad. Let's talk about Detachment. How'd the band get started?
Well, Rob, our vocalist, and Roberto, our guitarist, all know each other from high school. And we would just get together after school, and they would come back to my place, and we would jam and like play like A Day to Remember and Bring the Horizon covers in my basement. And we would play a show here and there, like I said, at the Vibe Lounge, that defunct venue, mostly in front of like our parents or like in front of our 15 friends. And sometimes we would get lucky, and sometimes there'd be like a lot of people there, and we'd play in front of like 100, 150 people. But I don't really count those days because like we weren't that good. Like we mostly relied on covers, and the originals we had, weren't that good, and we didn't have the money to like afford a good sounding production.
Yeah.
So, but obviously Rob, Roberto, and I stayed together with like various other high school members coming in and out to, be in the band. But like I officially consider Detachment to have officially formed in 2018.
Okay.
Which is the year we discovered our studio, Westfall Studios, and like that's the studio. Our entire discography was recorded there, and we solidified our lineup there, and like their producers like got the best sound out of us. So I consider our roots trace all the way back to like 2012, but I consider a Detachment forming in like 2018, more or less.
Nice. Where'd the name come from?
Rob came up with it, and he says I don't want to throw him under the bus. He just says he's been feeling like mentally detached from everything. He was going through a really bad depression at the time. So, and we were a different band name at the time. I'm not going to say what it was, but we were looking. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't one of my favorites. And we feel like Detachment was a much more short, cohesive, to the point name that was easier for people to remember. Yeah. So that's another reason he came up with that one too. Gotcha.
You guys released an EP January of 2020. Yes. Great time to release music, especially as an indie band, because you probably had plans of like the launching point. But
what was worse is that I was hoping to release that EP in 2019. So, and it's just getting pushed back for, reasons. And then of course we finally released in January, and we had a tour planned for April of that year. We were going to go to Louisiana. We were going to go to New Orleans, and I was so excited. And then obviously that didn't happen. So it was a big blow.
Yeah. Was there any point after that where you were like, oh man, because there was such this flux, especially when it went from like everything shut down for 2 weeks to everything is shut down indefinitely, where you guys were like, maybe the band's done?
No, not at all. No. The opposite. I was like, I was very angry, rightfully so. I was very angry over what was happening, but everybody was, obviously what I was feeling was no different or more or less what anybody else was going through. But I was like, I'm not going to let this stop us. Like, so, let's do something to gain the momentum back. So what we did was we went back into the studio that summer when the studio opened back up, and we recorded 2 singles, single Workhorse and Grow, with 2 of our singles that are available on all streaming platforms. And Workhorse became our most streamed song to date. So it completely worked out for the best. So we did not let the pandemic stop us at all by any means.
Nice. Yeah, it was a good time if you could like record, or if you had like just songs in your back pocket to like have that content out there, because people were hungry for it.
Yeah. And we were bored, and I just started letting the guys over my house. We'd be in the backyard, just Nick would have his acoustic guitar, and we wrote that extremely heavy metal song on an acoustic guitar, and then and we wrote the other song "Grow" on the acoustic guitar as well. And then August of that year, we all wore it. We all wore masks while recording, and we recorded both singles, and it turned out great. Nice. So, and we turned a bad situation into a good one. I don't wanna have this conversation anymore. I have been living my life in fear of wanting more. I'll take back all for you. What the fuck? Every time you try to make amends, I pretend it's until death or good. I'll stop feeding my disease. You guys just released this new album, Lack. Talk to me about the writing process and kind of the influences, because it's a very diverse record. Yeah, I mean, we've always been diverse. We never wanted to be just heavy or just melodic. So like, it's really just a continuation of the style that we had on our previous work, but we're just obviously trying to evolve and make the songs better and better. A lot of these songs date all the way back to, well, Choked is the first single that we released in September 15th. That was a continuation of the song Choke, which is on the EP Gaslight, but it's like a different version. It's a better version. So really the writing technically stretches all the way back to like 2016. But we recorded a lot of these late 2021 into 2022. And really the writing process just happened the same way it still does to this day. You know, Nick, our guitarist, writes all the riffs, and we just jam over that. And sometimes it'll take a whole month to write just one song, you know, because we're trying to build upon it, because we only see each other once a week, you know, because we all have jobs and stuff. So we only have practice once a week. So we're trying to add something new every single practice. And sometimes it'll take a whole entire, like 4 practice sessions just to write one song. But that's just kind of always how it's worked. So yeah, like I said, the writing process was just continuation of how we've always done it. Just Nick writes the riffs, Rob writes all the lyrics, and I just write the drums over that. And over time, Nick's like, oh, we should do this here. And Roberto's like, oh, we should put this here. And then eventually it just turns into a song. And then we just did that 10 times, you know, to make 10 tracks for this album. Nice. Do you guys spend a lot of time trying to figure out like the album sequencing because it's a diverse record, or is it really not because, you know, the album exists, but it's not like, you know, absolutely
the main driver?
I mean, yeah, that's definitely you know, obviously on the album there's Basement Days, which is a very pop punky song, which all of us are extremely proud of. And there's The Cluster, which is a straight up, you know, crushing Cane Hill-esque song. Yeah. And obviously I didn't want those 2 songs to be next to each other because they're so different. So they had to flow into each other naturally. So it's we definitely had to take into account, you know, all right, so here's the really brutal heavy song. Here's the almost pop punkish song. Like, we need to find the songs that are in the middle to go in between them, so it flows into each other. So we definitely had a lot of talks of making sure that, you know, the album just flowed into each other with each track, and I think we did a good job doing that. When you're picking singles and in order of release, are you trying to just be like, here is what we think is the best song or best representation of the album, or is it like, we want a heavy single and then we want something to show the melodic side or the punk side? Absolutely. Yeah. We want the singles to show like every side of the album. That's why we did Slug first. It's the brutal heavy song. And then we did BackBreaker to introduce Rob singing vocals, to let the listener know that there will be a lot of melodic singing vocals on the album. And the last song, Choked, the last single, Choked, which is also the same thing. You know, it starts off with a brutal heavy part, and then at the end there's a really slow melodic part with Rob singing, like very softly too. So yeah, that definitely takes a big part in, you know, releasing the singles and things like that. Nice. Have you found having kind of a diverse sound has helped you guys when booking shows, that you're flexible to play with a variety of bands and not just be like, we're playing only hardcore shows with hardcore bands? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it can work against us. Like, you know, sometimes we'll be on a bill with like bands that only play the super downbeat shit, and then when we come on, they're not sure what to do with us. But definitely we prefer playing with bands that like are more diverse than us, because we want the entire show to flow into each other, just like we want the album to flow into each other. So yeah, it definitely has made things easier for booking shows and things like that.
Gotcha. The album's called Black. Where'd the title come from?
We definitely took us a while to come up with the album title name. Rob came up with Lack. I think it's from the lyric in BackBreaker. Towards the end, you're focusing on what I lack. And I think that just stuck with Rob. And like the name Detachment, it's just short, straight to the point. People are going to remember it. And he brought it to the table, and we all agreed and said, all right, that's the name. Works for us. Nice.
Who did the album artwork?
A gentleman on Instagram that I've never met in person, but I saw his work and I loved it. And I DM'd him, and he said, yeah, let's do it. And he did it for us.
That's cool. Did you guys give him a direction for what you want?
Yes, we did. We definitely wanted a nice, huge, beautiful rural field with something grotesque in the middle of it to show the outdoors nature, the beautiful side, like representing our melodic side, and the skeleton representing our heavy side, like all in one picture. Mm-hmm. And we also wanted to look like very trippy too, because we're into like some psychedelic stuff too. So we definitely wanted to showcase that in the artwork too.
Nice. You said you guys finished recording the album, writing, recording like 21, 22. What caused the delay in the release?
Definitely some bumps in the road with some of us personally, and some like health issues and certain people's family members and things like that, which definitely delayed a few things, but they've definitely been under control as of recently. And we also wanted to make sure we had a good team behind us helping us promote the album. So we took a little while for us to find we're working with Tori. She's doing an amazing job. Took us a while to find just the right person to help us out. So that also played a role in taking a little longer than anticipated, but it's finally here. Today's the day, and we're all extremely happy about it.
Yeah. Is it tough knowing we've had these songs for so long, sitting on them, and then just I don't know, have you guys been writing or just waiting?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have definitely been taking advantage of it. Like, we have a few new songs, a few new full songs fully written, and we want to hit the ground running into next year, hopefully with another album or EP. We want to strike while the iron, obviously we're going to continue to promote Lack, but we're going to strike while the iron's hot in every sense of that term. And I'm extremely excited for these new songs.
Nice. Album is out today. I know for independent bands, touring has been miserable since COVID has come back. It's been very difficult, but what's the rest of this year and plans for next year look like for you guys?
We don't have any shows booked as of the recording of this interview, but obviously we're going to be playing a lot more shows coming up. Really, it's just we would definitely want to do another music video for the album. So I think that's the next big thing on our to-do list. I think it might be for The Cluster, the heaviest song on the album. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Just continue to push this album in people's faces as much as possible and get it out there.
Doubts are falling on deaf ears. Reality disappears. Doubts are falling on deaf ears. Reality disappears. The darkness in your
We appreciate if you check us out and you absolutely hate us, we appreciate you for checking us out, because it can be discouraging putting in so much effort and sometimes not getting the payoff like you heard, because disappointments happen everywhere. So we just appreciate any speck of attention we get from anybody anywhere. That includes yourself. I appreciate you doing this. Yeah. And that's it. Check the album out. We're called Detachment. It's called Lack, and we ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Doubts are falling.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcast and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show you. As the story grows, as the story grows. You can create something lasting and great, something passionate and real. And I'll bring in my own good feelings, I'll sing it with meaning. Let's just attack it and never look back. It's wild and fantastic. All together at full power, we're so much better. What's that word?